Good morning, and I just want to thank Dan and the BizTimes for having me today. I'm excited to be here to share some perspective on what we're seeing in the employment market right now. I feel a little bit slightly uneducated, sandwiched between two PhDs, so I'm going to do my best to just give you a perspective, but most of what I'm going to share today is more perspective from the clients that we work with and serve. So we have been in business for over 40 years. I've been with Hatch for 28 of those, and I've seen many different economic cycles over that time. We work with about 15 different industries, and on an annual basis, we will service about 150 different clients. So most of our customers are small to mid-sized businesses, so just keep that in mind as we share our perspective. But many of those are global, so we do get a little bit of a footprint globally. I think that the biggest thing when we look at the labor market right now, and I know Michael touched on it a little bit, we did see a little bit of a cool down in 2023. When I say a cool down, I kind of want to caution that because cool down for us meant you now had to do more than walk and chew gum and get an offer on the same day. 2022 was a crazy market, and I think we all felt it. We saw crazy offers going out, and then we saw the Great Resignation. And so as we went into 2023, the staffing industry, which is always an economic indicator, saw a decline overall year over year. So nationwide, the staffing industry was down 5.6%. This year, we're anticipating a little bit of growth, but we definitely see the year starting off a little bit slower. We're going to see some conservative growth in the beginning, and we expect a very robust second half of the year. So I'm going to share with you kind of some trends that we're seeing, and this is some of the things I've already gone over. But the reason why I say it cooled off was because the hiring processes slowed down. So now instead of one interview to offer, we started to see it go back to the norms. We would see 2 to 3 interviews. We would see more people involved in that interview process. Temporary labor continues to have high usage. Hatch does temporary labor. We also have a search and placement division, and we do RPO. Our direct hire division in 2023 had a record year in our 40-year history. So again, I caution, we see it cool off, but there's still the demand. The demographics are not changing, and the shortages will remain there. This is good news, I'm sure, to everyone in this room, but we're starting to see a little bit more of a balance of power between the employee and the employer relationship. I go back to some of the Great Resignation of 2022, all of the shortages we felt. Manufacturers had backlogs, and so we were really just looking to get as many people to throw at the problem. But we're coming into this year and we're really seeing that balance. You guys are seeing it every day in the news. Employees are coming back to work. We're seeing at Hatch where offers are actually, clients are walking away from candidates that are looking for more compensation, which we have not seen in over 12 months. In December alone, we saw 3 different offers where clients walked away from the candidates. So we're starting to see a balance of power, but please don't become complacent with that. This is not going to last. And this is kind of the year to make it about employer and employee and not look at it as this who has the power piece of the relationship. It was the wild, wild west, there is no doubt. But I think that what we're seeing now that the backlogs are caught up, we're seeing our customers get back to their engineering plans and to the standards that they had. So they're no longer just going to say, give me 20 people, can you get them tomorrow? They're really looking at sticking with those staffing plans and approaching this year, trying to make sure that they're very cautious and they're keeping their revenues in line. Flexibility is going to continue to be the key. We saw it all of last year. There was some good news in fourth quarter. We interview on a regular basis. Every single week we'll interview anywhere from 45 to 60 job seekers looking to make a change. And it was always, I want to work from home. I will only take a job if it's hybrid. And we started to see in the fourth quarter where people were saying, no, if I have to go to the office, I will. I can do that. So that was the first time we've seen that since the post-pandemic. But we do know hybrid is here to stay. So I think work from home isn't necessarily an end-all be-all, but we know people do want hybrid. And then the other thing we're seeing is just integration of flex scheduling. This is probably the best news I have for you today. Wages have finally stabilized, and this really, I think this is gonna help it's gonna give the Fed a lot more opportunity with rates, but we're seeing that for candidates to make a job move right now, it's about 4.6% average increase that they'll get. And while 90% of employers are saying in 2024 they're going to do a wage increase, it's back in line with cost of living at the 3 to 5%. So as you can tell, I'm a dog person, so I have a lot of dogs in these slides, but AI is a big trend we're seeing in the professional environment. So a lot of the office environments, I know we've seen this in manufacturing on the automation side for a while, but we're really seeing where every company that we work with is looking at how do we take our relationship people, our sales, our account managers, and do what the computers can't do for them. So AI is one thing. We did it in our strategic planning process this year, and we used ourselves as an opportunity, and we just played like questions, and we said, hey, let's ask ChatGPT what questions a staffing executive should be asked on a sales call, and I will tell you it was spot on. We were like, this is amazing. So if you're not looking at artificial intelligence and how you can reduce those and get rid of the mundane tasks for your office staff, it's really a good opportunity. And then this is, again, great news for all of us. I'm sure it's refreshing, but they're coining 2024 as the Great Stay. So we're going from the Great Resignation to the Great Stay. Quit rates are starting to fall. Again, in December of this past of 2023, we saw candidates turning down offers, and they weren't for counter offers. They were turning down offers that we had because they were a little bit hesitant and nervous to make a move. So we're starting to see this trend, but again, demographics are not changing. We're not suddenly going to get this huge workforce next year, so just don't get too comfortable with it. This just shows you where quit rates were falling. And then I have another slide that I'll show you a little bit more later, but I want to leave you with a few strategies of what you can be doing in 2024 to prepare your business, because 2025 is going to get much more in line again as demand increases, the economy continues to move forward. It's going to feel a lot more like 2022, but there are things you can do to prepare your business. So I know we all think we're really good at training and development, but our employees don't. And so I think even if you have the best training programs, you really need to audit it and see if it's having an impact, and then make sure you're managing the perception of that investment that you're making in your team members. We all know that right now our number one client is our internal staff, and so we really got to take care of them, and making sure that we're showing them that investment will be important. This one's a big one, revamping your hiring processes. Right now, hiring resides mostly with HR teams, and you really need to bring in your sales and marketing teams to your hiring processes. It's no longer about us standing in an interview and list of questions that we go through to ask and being really selective on who we want. We have to flip the switch, and we have to start selling these opportunities. We have to paint a picture of what it looks like, not only to work in the job, but for you as an organization and for your culture. This is a real problem that we're seeing. We filled more mid-level manager positions than any other job last year, and it's because very few people want these jobs anymore. And so we have to do two things. We got to make these jobs more appealing in our organizations if we're going to have mid-level managers, because the Gen Z and millennials, they just don't want these jobs. And we have a lot of people that want to leave these jobs. So training these individuals is important. 80% of the reason people leave jobs is because they don't like their manager, but their managers haven't been trained. They've been forced into the job. So this is a real big thing that everyone should be looking at in your organizations. I talked about flexibility, but flexibility really is key. We changed at Hatch. We're in a 24/7 business. We support manufacturers. They run 24/7. And we decided in June of 2022 to go to a 4-day work week. Everyone in our industry said we were crazy, and we were like, well, we're just going to pilot it. And I was like, this is never going to work, but we can try. And the staff proved me wrong. We made it work for our business. It's a performance-based program, but our performance didn't slip at all. Our employees continued to perform at a very high motivation level to make sure that they hit their KPIs. So then in October of 2022, I noticed a few staff members had this angst. They weren't taking this 5th-day flex. And so we made a modification, and we said, if you're not comfortable that you can hit your goals on a 4-day work week, we're going to give you an opportunity to just have flex time during the day. So our employees don't miss their kids' soccer games. If they want to get their hair done in the middle of the day, which I do all the time, because I don't want to wait on the weekend, and when the gray hair comes, it comes. So it's integrating work and life and no longer treating the two as distinctly different, and it's removing the distractions from your employees in the day-to-day. They now know that at 1 o'clock they can quick run out and do what they need to do. Doesn't work for all jobs, doesn't work for all industries, but if it can work for yours, I would try to find a way to make it work. This is really, really big, and I cannot emphasize this enough. I recommend you pull out your phones. I'm fine if you have your phones out while I'm talking, but Google your company. Gen Z and millennials, they do not want to work for companies that when they Google you, you do not have a good Google score or a Glassdoor score. And so I'm telling you, if you're not looking at this, if you're not working hard and very intentional to make sure that your brand is representing yourself, it will be a problem. As recruiters, we spend a great portion of our time talking to candidates, getting them super excited to come work for your organization and take that interview, and then they'll call us back and they'll go, I don't know, Lori, I just looked them up. And they don't look very good, and their reviews say bad things. And we have an opportunity as a third party to remind them and get them excited and say, just give them a shot. But you don't have that opportunity if it's a job post and they're going to apply or pass you by. So I would really make sure, if you're not at a 4.0, this is something that you're very intentional. This is where we spend most of our time consulting with our clients. Internal NPS scores. We started doing this on a monthly basis. It's so important for us. Our internal staff, they are going to create great customer relationships. They're going to help us retain our customers. If they're not happy, we have a problem. So we do our internal NPS score and put more weight on it than our external NPS. And we know that our passive will become detractors if we don't listen and hear what they're saying. Job postings. If you go on Indeed and look at the job postings that are out there right now, many of our teams have not changed how they write job postings. They're not good. They're very traditional. On the left side, you'll see the typical job posting. I just went on. I would say only 25% of job postings are where they should be, and 75% are, this is what I need, these are my requirements, this is what you must do. And it doesn't get that candidate super excited. You got to tell them your story, and you can do it through video, you can do it through print, but you got to make sure that your story is painting that picture of why they should want to work for you. Mentor programs, we're really seeing great traction with this with our manufacturing customers, particularly skilled labor on the production floor. Our clients that have put in mentor programs are seeing great retention rates from it. So if you don't have a strong mentor program, the rule of thumb is first 2 weeks on the job, they get a mentor, and it will improve that, especially in manufacturing, that 90-day window of your retention rates. Because in manufacturing, we lose a lot of people in those first 90 days. Plan for turnover. We all act surprised when our millennials and our Gen Z leave us at 2 years or 2.5. These are the stats. This is the average numbers. So let's just plan for it. And then when we get the small slice that want to stick around and stay with us long term, that's great. That's a bonus. But if we're building talent pipelines, let's take advantage of these amazing, talented, younger workers that bring so much energy to us, so many new ideas, and let's stop worrying about what they don't give us and that they don't stay long enough, and just plan for that they will leave, more than likely, and they will move on to a different opportunity, but hopefully they were able to make an impact while they were with you. This is just going back to that great stay. And as we look over the next 12 months, this went from 80% in 2022. 80% of people were looking to leave our companies, and we're down to 57%. I know it still sounds high, but I was like, this is amazing news. Alignment with mission, values, and purpose. I've seen a lot of great videos. I'm sure there are a lot of great videos in this room where we're seeing employers really showcase, if I am picking up garbage on the road, what does that job mean? And Viola had a fabulous video out there showing how it's making an impact on creating sustainable communities. But we got to tie those jobs to the bigger purpose for individuals so they know where and how their position is going to make an impact. Show me the money, Jerry. I hope there's some people who remember Jerry Maguire, but we're still seeing that 80% of people that are looking or have left jobs, compensation still is a reason. So even though salaries are cooling off, candidates are still in the mindset, unfortunately, of, well, I should get 20% because that's what others got. And it's just not the case now. More career growth is a big one. And then I think we all know, coming out of the pandemic, we've seen a surge in importance on mental health. So in closing, I think what I would leave you with, I'm not making any predictions. Do not take anything to Vegas. I am not a Ph.D. and I'm telling you my predictions would not come true. So sorry, Dan, but I don't want to get an F score. Michael gave himself a B-, but I would say if there's one or two things that you take from here, just inspect it, really look at it. Don't assume when you go back and talk to your teams and they go, oh yeah, we do that. Really dig in and look at it, because a lot of these things that we've seen our customers do, we've seen some do them really well and some it just hasn't worked for. So I hope that I've left you with a few new things that you can go back and do, but just remember the demographics aren't changing. Use this year to retool and get things in line, because as the economy picks up, we're going to feel like we're back in 2022. So thank you.